Good morning. Today is Monday, December 27th, 2021. My name is Terry Morgan. We are here to practice Yang Style Taiji. Have a couple things I'm going to talk about. We're going to practice, and a little bit of preview, I think. All right, so I have been talking about new format, concluding some things that I've been doing, and starting some new things. Well, here we are. This is the last week. We have today Yang Style Taiji. I'm going to review part 1 and part 2. Cover just a little bit of the goals, I guess, what I'm going to try and do with the new format and what to expect. That's pretty much it. Alright, the schedule that I have right now is next week, then the week after. 2 weeks, yeah, maybe 3, ish. I'm going to take a break. During that time, I'm going to do some cataloging. I'm going to look at everything that's been done, see what's missing, and then look forward to what happens next. All right, part of what happens next is a change in the format for these classes. So one of the things that's going to change is me talking. There are times when the only way to understand what we're doing is for someone to explain it. There's no other option. It has to be explained. You have to understand what goes underneath, what goes behind this movement, what goes behind that movement. It's not strictly the physical effort that matters. How do you learn that? You know, somebody somehow has to explain it. Whether that's an in-person class and the teacher is showing you something, whether that's here on video and I'm trying to show something, whether that's verbally, however that happens to be there, it has to be explained. Now, there is also a fairly large body of knowledge that goes behind what we do. This history, the philosophy, what the earlier teachers taught, these kinds of things that are more for discussion. They're more for, let me sit down and read this. I can understand what this is saying. I don't necessarily have to be able to perform that art to understand what someone talking about that art is saying, right? So it's not necessary to understand Yang Style Taiji to recognize and appreciate the dynamic that Yang Style Taiji uses. It's a spiral. That spiraling energy is unique to Yang Style. They use it. Yang Style does not use that. Yang Style uses this large sweeping circle. Right? Those kinds of things are more about explanation and understanding. So in my previous teaching, I had class that started at 7 o'clock in the morning. Everybody come to the park. We're going to be having class at 7 o'clock in the morning. We had Wudong's 3 basic methods, and then I let people choose what they were going to work on. So Bagua, Xingyi, Taiji, whatever you were going to work on, you went and worked on that after we did basic sets. When we finish that, we go to have breakfast, and there'd be opportunity for folks to ask questions during class, and then additional opportunity for questions and other kinds of explanations while we were having breakfast. There were some things that were just, shared experience, and there were other things that belong in the understanding of what it means to do what I do, what it means to practice, what it means to teach, what it means to have this lifelong, it's not stopping, I'm keep doing this until I fall over, right? Lifelong practice. What does that mean? How does that fit with everything else that we do? How does that, you've got to go to work, you've got this, you've got that. How does this practice? Because you have to practice. If you're going to keep it, you have to practice. How does that fit with everything else? For me, it's morning. That's how it fits with everything else. When I first started learning, very first, I went to an evening class after work, right? So finish work, get things done, go to class, go home. Long day. It was a long day. And I'd practice on the weekends. I'd practice when I wasn't in class. Excuse me. And the more I learned, the more I wanted to learn. I really did. This is cool, I want to learn this, I want more. I kept going. I'm still going. All right? Part of that learning, part of that, I want to know more, I want to understand more, comes from what we pursue. Part of it comes from what there is that can be learned in that system, in that art. What can be learned? If I'm going to be a painter, I'm not, but if I was going to be a painter, what would I need to learn? What skills would I need to develop? What goes with being a painter? Hand-eye coordination, ability to visualize what you're going to paint, right? What's this gonna be? I mean, right? There's a few basics that go with, and then having that vision of what it is you're creating and being able to translate it to canvas or whatever media it happens to be. I have that vision. Translating it to the canvas, for me, not so much. But with movement, one of the things that I discovered early on was that I could do this. And it was pretty good, right? I enjoyed it. Also, very important, I really liked the movement, combination of breathing, that pattern of working through, and the idea that there was something more. That it wasn't just, I'm going to learn this movement and that's it. I'm going to do this one thing, or I'm going to learn this one thing and that's it. No, you learn this one thing and then there's 10 more that you now have the ability to learn. And you're going to do a few of these 10 and you discover that there's a whole bunch more that you can do. Right? That skill starts with, where do I put my foot? Where do I put my hand? What's the outward physical movement? And it progresses through that. That's where it starts. It progresses through that to developing greater skill with that physical movement, as well as combining all of the internal things that we pay attention to. The physical breath, the chi, the inner breath, the energy, jing, the connection between the movement and the breath and the breathing, and how that sets up a rhythm that we keep throughout the practice. Right? Let's get started. Basic stretch, and then part 1 and part 2 of Yang Style Taiji. Feet about shoulder width apart. Stand straight, bend the knees, wiggle the toes, hands, fingers, hands circles the front, shoulders down, back around to both sides, up along the center line, reach out, stretch out, extend, and one more time. All the way up, elbows drop down, wrist, fingertips, hands return to your sides. And I'm going to talk about this real quick. Sip of coffee. As we get started this morning, I want you to remember a little bit some of the exercises that we have done, as well as some of the fundamentals that we've covered. I'm going to review those real quick. This is, and this is part of this whole idea that I'm talking about, where I'm asking you to remember something that you may or may not have seen. That's true. You may or may not have seen what I covered. You may or may not know what I'm talking about. That's a problem. As I start this new format, this new series, what I intend to do is to make sure that I have created, and tagged, so that it can be found, whatever it is that I'm talking about. Now, I know that I've covered these basic sets for Yang Style because I've reviewed those files. Making them easier to find is one of the things that I'm going to be doing. Basic stepping, feet about shoulder width apart, hands behind your back. Shift to left, right toes to 45, shift the weight. Bring the left foot through, and step. shift back, and again, bring the right foot through and step. Keep the body centered as you step. Pay attention to the knee. Keep the leg open. Pull up through the ankle and step back, go behind. And again, keep going. Keep going. One or two more. One more. And straighten. Pull it back. Center. Alright. Walking forward and backward. We have side to side. We have some additional stretches. There are a few things that I've presented in the context of this is what I learned when I started learning Yang Style Taiji. So, with that in mind, part of this new series that I'm talking about with this new format is going to be me going through a full series, what we started class with when I first learned Yang Style Taiji from Huang Wei Lun. Record that, and then separately talk about it. Give some instruction. Talk about the basis behind, so that I have separated a little bit the movement. This is a full class. This is what this looked like. Right? From, let me explain each one of these movements as we go through. From, in doing these movements, how we're going to pay attention to them and the things that we should be learning from practicing these movements. Right? So, my goal is that with the movement only, there will be the opportunity to just do the movement. I'm going to be quiet, I'm not going to say it, I'm going to turn around, we're going to practice. Done. Then there's the other part that you need some explanation. You need to know what you're supposed to be doing in these sets. What the result will be is a little bit more concise presentation. So it's not scattered in this class and that class and over here and over there, right? A little bit more concise. A little bit more, you need to just play this back. I'm not going to do it again today. Play back the tape, right? Some of that, together with this whole series of exercises. The same with what we're about to do in part 1 and part 2 of Yang Style Taiji, where, excuse me, where we're going to go through the full set without me talking so much. Okay? Call out the names of the movements maybe. Find some nice music to put behind it for practice, so that there's a series of practice sets that you can play back. Part 1, practice. Part 1, another kind of practice. Part 2, other kind of practice. Play back which one you want. And then separate from that is the explanation and how to practice. Right? Explanation for what this practice is, what are we doing, what are we paying attention to, and then how do we do it? That explanation for what you need to be able to do in order to do this, whatever this is, right? That's the format, that's my goal. So that instead of coming to class every day and, okay, it's whatever the teacher decided, which is it's not a bad thing. That is not a bad thing. It makes it difficult to create this catalog that I'm trying to create. It makes it difficult to follow unless you're here every day. All right, I'm here every day, I'm okay with it, but there are some challenges, all right? And what I really want to do with this new format is to be able to dig a little bit deeper into some of the things that I practice so that it's more comprehensive. What I'm recording is more, what I'm recording here is more comprehensive. Yang Style Taiji, Part 1. Feet together, stand straight. Pull up through the crown of the head. Open the arms. Relax through the shoulders. Open the hands. Fingertips reach down. Tip of the tongue touches the roof of the mouth. Relax the breath. Relax the body. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in, salute. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more time, breathe in. Transfer the weight to the right, release the left. Open. Breathe out. And relax. Arms up. Press down. Open right. Step through left. Ward off, pull down. Turn. Step through right. Ward off, pull down. Ward off. Pull down. Press. And push. Turn, single whip. Nice and easy. Elbows drop down. Raise your hands. White crane spreads its wings. Brush knee. And strum a loop. Brush knee. Brush knee. Brush knee. Step up. And strum a loop. Brush knee one more time. Deflect downward. Parry. And punch. Shift back. Close the door. Turn. Crossing hand. Extend. Press down. Close. Salute. Stay there. As we pay attention to part 2, this idea of nice, flowing, easy rhythm, keep that in mind. And I'm checking the messages over here. This computer messages. We're fine. Feet about shoulder width apart. Sink. Bend the knees. Cross the hands. center, and turn. Fresh knee. Forward off, pull down, press, and push. Come around, push out, turn, fist under the elbow, push back the monkey. Hold the ball, step behind, step up, raise the hands, fresh knee, step up, knee let's see bottom, and through the back, turn and hold the fist, and chop, deflect downward, parry, and punch. Ward off left, pull down right, step through, pull down, press, and push. Turn, single whip, loud hands, last time, set the foot, single whip, pull back, part the horse's mane, open, and come on up, and again, turn, fresh knee, fresh knee, punch downward, turn around like this, and again, step through, cross hands, open, and turn, grab left, punch right, back fist, up, open, quarter turn, down, ears, extend, and turn around, deflect downward, parry and punch. Close the door, crossing hands, center, close foot, salute, stay there. Relax. All right, couple of things. Footwork. Where's the leg? Where's the hip? What's going where? All right. So I have my days when the leg is cooperating, and I have my days when the leg is not helping so much. This was a not helping day. All right. So it's fine. It's just relative to my level of activity, right? And this is something that we want to pay attention to. And what the idea behind my recording, part of the idea that I have behind some of the recordings that I'm talking about, we're going to do a little bit more, just a little bit more. Part of the idea that I have behind some of these recordings is that instead of, this is what happened today, because it's live and here we are, I get to do as many repetitions as I want to get whatever the result is that I want. Whatever that movement happens to be, I'm able to record it and re-record it so that ultimately you get the one that's most correct. Yeah, it works out really well. I've talked about this repeatedly with the idea that this is a practice and this is daily and I'm here live, and no, I'm not perfect in every way and I'm not going to be. It's never going to happen. Okay? Performance is another thing entirely. Okay? Practice and performance are not the same thing. They're not. Alright, so from single whip, and we're going to do clap hands, single whip, and the leg sweep. Single whip. Find your center. Relax the breath. And breathe in. And breathe out. And breathe in. Turn. Breathe out. Nice and easy. Single whip. And shift back. Pull in. And come on up. Open. Let the foot drop if you need to. Keep the movement smooth. And again, open. Turn, extend, brush knee, punch down, turn around, deflect down, step through. Heel, put it down, grab with the right, punch with the left. Turn, other side. Back fist, come on up, extend, quarter turn. Last one. Turn. And close. Preview. Okay? There were some things that I did during practice that were not the same as what I just did. There were some things that were exactly the same. Right? The footwork and the coordination to do the turns. What I find, this is me, okay? What I find when I don't try, right? Hey, there it is. When I'm really trying, doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. All right, now, there are some things that when I'm really trying, it's going to happen. We just saw that. I just showed you that. I'm going to make it happen. There's part of my own determination, which is what goes on behind, right? There's part of my practice that says, I know what I did. I know what I did that was wrong. I know what I did that was right. I know what I need to do in order to change what I'm doing so that I can do it, right? Where do I turn? How do I turn? Where do I put my foot? All of that goes with, all right? So there's a couple of places that I could still use some improvement, and there's a couple of places in what I just did that I just stuck it. It's there, and it shows. I'm pretty sure that it shows. It would show, for sure, in person. There's a feeling that happens when it's just right there. Whatever it is, it's just right there. That exactly what needed to happen, exactly the way it needed to happen, that feeling comes through. Being able to recreate that is why we practice. It can't be just an accident. What I just stepped through, I wasn't talking. And that's, again, this is part of this new format that I'm looking at. And this is the explanation that goes with, right? I just did something. I didn't talk about it while I was doing it. I'm not talking, I'm just doing. I did. What was she doing? What was that? This is the explanation, right? This is the kind of thing that I'm looking at doing. So there'll be much more of the, we're going to do some movement, here's the movement, follow along. And another segment where I talk about what it was that was in that segment and a little bit more of a breakdown for how to do it. Right, so there's like 4 levels of analysis that I just did. There was, right? There was. All right, so it matters. Being able to do that. What's going on? I'm on camera. I'm trying to pay attention to the class. I'm very self-conscious when I'm doing that. And all right, I didn't warm up enough to do some of the things that I'm trying to do. Yeah, okay. Right? It's Monday. Hey, it's Monday. There's that. Right? There were levels of energy that I adjusted, my dynamic for what I intend to do, so that I know what it is that is behind that movement. You can probably see some of that. All of it, yeah, I don't know. That's my point. If I'm showing you, here's a little clip of this segment that I just did. And let me point out some of the things that I'm doing. Better understanding. And it gives a better representation of what's there. Because I can also talk about what's not. And some things are there, some things are not there. What's not there, right? All of that matters ultimately to how we practice. What goes into it, what you put in is what you get back out, right? So put in the good stuff. Let go of the stuff that we don't want and leave the negative stuff out the other side of the door, right? And during practice, pay attention to this idea of, particularly for Yang Style, this idea of being present right now, being mindful of what we're doing, and this idea of smooth, continuous flow in the movement. However that is defined, we want to keep it throughout the form. This is a characteristic of Yang Style, this extended, even movement throughout the form. There is part of that idea that belongs to all Tai Chi systems. The way that it is practiced in Yang Style Tai Chi is with this large, sweeping, open movement that follows through and has that sense of sameness. There's a quality of neither too fast nor too slow that belongs with Yang Style Tai Chi. Tai Chi in general has this idea of balance, even, deliberate movement. How we do that, even deliberate movement, varies with each style, and it can vary within particular practice. I'm hopeful that the difference was visible to the camera. Same form, same movements, different idea, different intent behind. If there's one thing that I would like anybody that's been learning this and might learn to take away, it's this idea that there is a range within which the movements are correct. The fundamental principles behind what underlies Yang Style Tai Chi, what are the principles that sweeping round movement, these kinds of moves are part of the system. Now we delve into why coming up. We can look at how that gives us advantage through these particular moves. As we pay attention to what we're doing, how we're doing, the underlying thought, what goes underneath this movement, how we do this movement, what goes behind that, what are we paying attention to, what are we being mindful of, what's the intent, how much energy are we putting towards that, how much spirit, enjoyment, how much spirit, I'm going to do this, right? How much spirit do we bring to our practice? And what are the things that we pay attention to that we don't want? And how do we push them aside while we practice? We want to cultivate the things that we want to keep, not the things that we want to get rid of, right? It matters. So does that smile. I'm going to close with that today. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. I'll be back, last class, all this week. Wudang Style Taiji tomorrow, last class. Wudang Style Taiji Sword, last class. Thursday and Friday, last class for Wudang Qigong. Take a break. I'll be back middle end of January with new series, new format. Hope you'll join me. Thank you.